Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and let's run a test. So we're going to run this test to see if the init stuff, the required stuff, if that all, what's that generating, because I think it's screwing up some other things in the code. And one of the things I may not have articulated as well as I wanted to at the end of the last episode is one of the things that's a consequence of doing this is that if you have any of these, you now have a parameter to your instance method that is not optional. Because if I made it optional and I put it at the end, what about any potential other optional things that you may have? Or if you have params or anything like that, I can't just assume I can stick it at the end. So I figured put it at the front, make it explicit, and then put all the other instance things after it. So we'll see. Anyway, let's run this and see what happens. And by run this, I mean that I'm believing it should have an init. Yeah, we should have one for bar, int bar. But we'll see what the code is generating and go from there. One thing I'm looking at too in my code here is I'm starting to see that I have casts here. There's a very, very small tweak. I don't know if I have it as a issue in rocks just yet. Yeah, it's failing. I'll come to that in a second. I'm going to put that in rocks anyway, because one of the things you can do there is if you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that something that you're casting can be casted to a type, you don't need to even do this. It's slightly faster to do it this way. But why do I have a pull request? Oh, that's from a long time ago. Do I have that in here? Does not return related issues. Some of these I kind of think this one I thought I solved. For does not return a version. Yeah, maybe I already solved that one. I don't know. But let's put in a new issue. Consider using Unsafe.As for type casts. For example, in cases in the generated code, I know that this will be a func of int. So I could use Unsafe.As to get a very slight perf increase. And let's make sure I've got the syntax right on that. So that's C#, well, it's actually .NET, but everything is, I don't want as ref, as cast the given object to the specified type. Yes. So I could say Unsafe.As string, and then Unsafe.As this. Method handler dot. When I want to do that, I would just do that. I think that would work. Yeah, the perf gain you gain from doing this is really small. This has to be like on a hot path for it to be justified, but it is one of those things of, excuse me, there won't be actually on there, but, and then we would want to say bang, because what's coming out of this is a Unsafe.As string. Returns a T. Well, it says the original object casts the given type. But then why does it do, you know what, whatever. This is me getting totally distracted. Submit new issue. I think people don't like to see the word Unsafe.As because they think, oh my God, that's like an unsafe way of doing something. But this is for those cases where you do know, and you're absolutely, typical safe casting operation would have succeeded, and we know this because if it wouldn't, it would be awful. I would have done something very terrible in my code for that not to work. So All right, something to consider. Anyway, back to the statement at hand, problem at hand, whatever you want to call it. Give me what I did wrong. Okay. Come over here. Let's put a new in. So you realize you needed the class. Okay, that's fine. You did do constructor. Yeah, it doesn't do this anymore. So it does all that. That's fine. It doesn't do that. It now gives you self.bar. And like I said, now when you call this, you have to give, like, you could just say new, and that would be perfectly fine. And if you don't give anything to bar, it doesn't matter. You know, that's up to you. I don't like that. I don't like these extra returns that happen when you do this. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly. And it's because I really don't know why. I mean, this is going through all the lines, you know, and splitting it on a new line. So we would have had that, and then split that. It would have written the line there, but for some reason we keep getting these extra lines. I don't know why. Is it because we're appending oh. Yeah, the last thing, we don't want to do that. I bet that's what that is. Let me give that a try here. Right, so it's still going to fail, but we're not going to get that extra line because we're just appending text there. And when we do write lines, it will see that's why we haven't put, yeah, we're putting an extra thing there. And I think that's what, I got to hopefully keep that in the back of my head. And when I eventually address this in other places, you know, say that the last write that I do can't be a write line, it has to be a write. And then you don't actually write a line feed carriage return at the end. So let's see what this looks like now. Yeah, that's much better. That's much, much better. Okay, so it's funny that it doesn't think that that's it's just the way it did the, so we're going to say here, and then we want public int bar. I'm like, this kind of worked. I mean, it was, you know, this is encouraging-ish. Okay. Now we don't have a space there. So what we do want to do is when we say, we did write line, so that writes it, but then we want another write line in there just to give some space. Always got to leave it a space like that, because that looks better. Okay. Now we're going to have this at the end, right? Now we say that, except we're no longer going to do this. We're going to say this, except not that, and self bar is constructor properties bar. Except we need that over there. There. And Bob's your uncle. That should be it. That shouldn't be set bar. That should be a nit bar, but whatever. It is a small annoyance. I should put in another issue to say it's not giving the right thing when you have an initter. Well, it's technically the method is still a set bar. I mean, the property in the IL is saying that the setter or the initter is actually going to be set bar, but you call it as an init. So I think that actually comes from, anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, let's run this now and see what it does. Still failed. Why did you fail this time? Do you have things wrong? Oh, you're still, oh, that crap. Okay. Yeah, it's not tabbed in. Still failed. Cannot initialize type with a collection is because it does not implement. What? What? Cannot not initialize type rock ITest with a collection initializer because it does not implement system collections IEnumerable. But that's not a, okay, to this, because I'm a little confused here. Let's just say compile the C# here. So if I have public class, just a customer, okay, and I have public string name, get and init, okay, great. Now I want to say something that says public class constructor property. Are those names right? Constructor properties, yeah, constructor, and that would be scoped to the create expectations of iTest. So if I had an iBar test, their constructor properties would be different than this constructor properties. So that's good. Okay, now this is going to be a getter set. That's okay. All right. And now what we want is a static void initialize. Okay, where we say constructor properties. No, we're going to, yeah, there. Okay, so what we want to do is actually return a customer here. Okay, so we're going to say return new customer. Oh, that's the, shoot. But that should be, I can say here, name is equal to, oh, I almost got demonetized. Not like I'm making a lot of money in my videos, but I almost let it slip. This is a PG stream or video, so sugar. Yeah, it's not self. It's just bar. Yeah. Constructor. Come on, you know what that is. Name. Or, well, that, but yeah, saying it's self is stupid. It's on that. That's what we want to do. So, yeah, initialize here is customer new, and that's the problem. Yeah, we don't, so up in here, we're doing, it's not self dot, it's just this, except we need T there. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay. Now it will work, right? And it does, and it works. I'm a genius. Okay, so let's do this. To close out this one, I am going to not have these in play because that makes it take forever. We're just going to run the tests in Rock's test. We're not going to get to the integration ones just yet because I think there's a lot of stuff that's broken there right now. Well, let's just run these and let's see what fails. I'm hoping it's mostly just differences between what I expected the code to be and what is actually there. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Only 3 failed. So we got that going for us. Okay. And what does event symbol have anything to do with this? Get names to me. What? Okay, this one is probably the most expected one. So let's grab this. Okay. And put that here. Because, yeah, this is just generating the instance. Yeah. Okay, so this one will probably be the one that makes the most sense to tackle. So we get instance setter getter. We're going to put this in. No, we're going to put this in. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. That's really cute. That is so cute. Except it's wrong because we don't have an indexer here. And is not an indexer. Yeah, indexing into what? If I said that you had an abstract class and you had a this there. Wow, okay, I did not see that one coming. Interesting. So what would you index into though? Like the indexer assumes that you've got something backing it to do it with. How do I know what you're indexing? What your backing store is it with it? Is it a dictionary? Is it a list? Is it I don't know. Wow, this one's actually stumped me. I would imagine you can't do a required on an indexer, because how would you know? Like if I had public, what do I got here? Like int this, where I am inting a, okay, and I say get and set. Okay, that should be customer this and its set must declare a body because it is not marked abstract, external, partial. Yes. So I could just say here, return 0. I don't really care what it does. Okay. And then set, that's just that. We don't care. Oh, fine. What don't you like about this? It's not doing anything. What am I missing here? This... Like, I don't care what the, like, a is equal to 3? What? Oh my God. Okay, so if I say this, can I just do, yeah. Okay, I was overthinking it. Okay. Yeah, never mind. Okay, fine. Yeah, so you can't make a required indexer. Fair enough. That makes sense. But you can make and that's fine. You can only call this, though, within the constructor or the object initializer. Well, I have a choice here, and I think this is where I'm going to stop with this episode. Because... what are you complaining about up here? Yeah, fine. Excuse me. Whatever. And then how would, like, you'd say, well, I called it with 3 as my index. And so on the constructor properties, I want to get what the value is from 3. How in the world do I know what that is? And that gets even worse, because if the indexer is a multi-key indexer, like int a, string b, quid c, then for all those values, how do I know what you're trying to get from that? How do I know you so yeah, I gotta think this one through. There's basically, I think, 2 things to do. One, either I say that initializers don't include indexers. So if you have a case like this, good luck. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to write something that is quote unquote backing it the way you think it should be backed. I could say, again, just having it be a dictionary of a key where the key is all of the index values, and use that as like a tuple, and that's just what it becomes, and you have to deal with that. If you don't like that, too bad. Or I don't do anything, so I only look for properties that are not indexer properties. That's the simpler one. That's the simpler one. The harder one is to actually do something in the constructor properties class that if you run into an indexer, you have a private backing field that somehow is able to take all of those values and say, that's what you're keying off of, and then give me the value for that. Now, the constructor properties, the setter is just there I'm wondering too if I should always make these inits, even if it's required or not, because what we're trying to force is you to actually set these. Not force you, but that they can only be set when it's being constructed. By the time you get into here, the instance method, well, this should be called instance if I want to be kind of mapping to what I'm doing before, then that should say by the time you come into here, there was no way for you to actually reset whatever was in constructor properties. Even though it's the code that I'm generating, it would be possible to do some really weird, funky things to, like, you could make an object of this, you could set them to all these calculated values and then do like, but why? Why? You don't need that. You just need these to be getting an it. But I don't want to have these as a record, because a record with that primary constructor syntax forces you to pass all of those in. And I don't know if you want to do that or not. You may just want to pass in one of them. So that's the decision I have to come to, though. So I'm going to write these two down because I do not want to forget this. Okay. Indexers are problematic. We either say they're not supported, or we come up with a dictionary backed indexer in constructor properties that will use a tuple. This is where tuples of one value would actually be nice. I mean, I know it's not supported. I don't think it's supported, but maybe it is. There's your tuple for the key based off of all the index types. Should constructor properties always be a init? I think so. I think they should be, whether it doesn't matter what the properties or not. I think they should be inits. The required just, well, oh, yeah. I forgot to make required properties in constructor properties. Required. Duh. And then I wanted to, where was that? In here. Yeah, so do you really care if that's set bar or init bar? I really don't. You can't even, that we have no way for you to, did I take that off or not? I can't remember. I don't remember if I said that you can't do an expectation on an initer because there was no way for you to be able to set that anyway. Well, now you do. So would that matter? Never mind that. I'm not going to care about that right now. So indexers are problematic. Should they always be a init? But then I just got to put the required keyword in there. So that'll be for next episode whenever I get to that. Today is Labor Day. I have dinner to make with the family, and I'm going to play some games with the family afterwards, probably watch some episodes. I'm really getting into The Boys. And yes, I watched this with my older son. He loves The Boys. You may think I'm a terrible parent, but he's 17 and he gets it. It's very enjoyable, and it's, as Butcher says, it's diabolical at times, but I like it. So we might watch a couple of shows of that tonight. And I don't know if I'll have any more time for today to do this, but anyway, I kind of know that the things that are here, the indexer one is probably the worst one. I'm probably going to, let's put that at the bottom of the things I need to do, because all the rest of the stuff I think I now have done. So, yeah, require init, we do that. We put that in there, we do that. And then you could do this. Now you can do this, and that should work. And for the required ones, we do need it to be required because we got to force them. Okay. So some work left to do. And the last issue there is the one that may add more work than what I'm expecting. It really depends on how I want to handle. If you have to set, it can't be required, but if you want to initialize an indexer, how am I going to allow you to do that? And again, I got to think of non-virtual. So I'm almost thinking I kind of have to do something here to allow somebody to pass values in. Stop talking, Jason. Go make dinner and have fun. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.